Our school says we trust our students, we respect our students, and we're not going to tell anything to the parents about our students. Period. So nothing. So basically, if you really want to know that, you ask your own child. And the only time when the school and the parents meet is either if the school has like a clear reason to ask, like to have a discussion with the parents, or when the parents want to have a discussion with the school. But also then they have to take the initiative themselves to arrange the topic at school. But we deliberately don't tell anything to the parents, because then you undermine the trust in the student and you undermine the responsibility. The other thing is that I think the parents have a very, very important role. And the biggest role I think is that you have confidence in your own child that she can do it herself. And that if she has questions, you're there for her to help her, to assist her, to answer questions, etc. So I think the role is very, very important, but it's not about what are we doing at school, etc. It's a different level.
Isn't that if you have a job, for example, and you imagine your parents coming over, it's sort of like that. You're going to your job, you're busy with your activities, and then suddenly somebody comes and they're looking at you, and you go, "But I was doing my things." It's really weird because you're so autonomous. You're just doing your activities, and then your parents, just all of a sudden come and look at that, and they can have an opinion about that, and that's sort of really weird. But it can be fun. So if you have a parent who just goes, "Oh wow, show me your projects and what have you done," and that's really cool. But if you have somebody who goes like, "Oh, what homework did you do today? And did you?" That's really
very destructive.
Really destructive. It's just like imagine yourself in the position if you were at your job and your parents would come over, or it's just weird if they go, "Oh, did you just do this, or do you actually do something important at your job?" It doesn't really work if somebody goes and asks you those questions. But I think the most important part of the parents is, I really believe, trust. I've seen many students who ran into problems just because their parents didn't trust them, because they were there and saying, "You have to, why have you done your English?" Or they make these, they sort of ask their children, they say, "Well, you want a new bike, but maybe you can do an English test to get the bike." That's the most destructive thing. You don't want to put some expectations there. You just want to let them be the most important part is the self-motivation, that you are the person who motivates you, because if you won't be around to do it all the time. So
if your parents really have confidence and trust in you, then you can do it. It's really never, if the kid on the school never has a problem, really. It's really rare that there is a problem that's just the kid. It's almost always the parents that's doing something wrong. And I don't want to put pressure on them. The thing is, it's like, then there's a student that's starting to not follow the rules, and then you're like, what's happening? And then somehow you find out that the parent is not really trusting it, and the parent is doubting if he is really learning anything. And when the parents, even though you're talking about it at home, and the kid doesn't hear it, the kids are really smart, and they can feel on you if you don't trust them, right? And that's going to be reflected in school. So
and you can be involved in the school if you want to, if you like to. You can always become a staff member, or you were a staff member when your kids were at the school, right? So it's possible to stay involved if you want to. But then it does make being a staff member, I think, a bit more difficult if you have to separate your role as a parent, as a staff member, because it's very difficult to not be somebody.
But if you want to become a staff member to see what your children are doing, that's like the worst motivation.
yes. It's more.
So in that sense, you can, like, if you will become a staff member, that's okay. But then you should become a staff member because that's what you really want to do. You can also say, well, I'm very concerned about this and this and this, and leave it there. And then you leave it up to your child to make it to take in that information and to decide what to do with it. because people don't want to get hurt or want to run into problems. Because nobody wants that.
My son is allowed to learn to bicycle.
Oh,
He's
good.
afraid of it.
Yeah.
He's 7 years old, and then sometimes they say, okay, let's try. Go 10 minutes and try that. And he don't want, but I said, yes, we try that. And we did it. And afterwards, he was glad. He says, yeah, okay, I can do it. I did it, and it was a good experience for him. But maybe he didn't have that experience if he wasn't pushed. But
I would say that it's a good idea. I think you can offer your child and say, I can help you with this. And if the child doesn't want to, then you should leave it at that. Because the thing is, maybe your boy just wanted to learn to bicycle right now. But maybe in half a year or 2 years, when he sees his friends are biking, or they're going on this biking trip to the forest or something, or doing tricks and something, maybe then he will.
I think it's a fine line between forcing or pushing and offering.
Yeah.
You really have to be very conscious about where you are and which are the line. Because I think as soon as if you start forcing, you start to create resistance. And if you start offering, and he wants to do it, fine. If he doesn't want to do it, also fine. But then it should be his choice.
I think that's what's hard as well, being a parent, because you want to remove the stones from your children's road in life. I mean, if you can, then you would like to remove the stones. I get also working with children, I get that it's a good idea to let them fall and pick themselves up, but as a
Doesn't
parent,
mean it's easy. No.
as a parent, you want to remove those
But
rocks.
how many? Yeah. Well, the question is,
That's
how
true,
many
yeah, but-
stones do you want to remove, and does it really work? And there was one brilliant story. It was an American journalist, Cara Morano. She wrote a book about over-invasive parenting. I think the title is called like Nation of Wimps. And there were like lots of really good stories in it. Like a student goes to study, I think at Harvard. Then the parents move house, buy a new house just at the side of the campus of Harvard, so they can actually keep supporting their child. And when the child has a low mark on an exam, they call the professor, well, don't agree with it. And it continues even after Harvard. That if you finish Harvard, you're supposed to be ready to take like a responsible position in society. And then some parents even go with their child to their first job interview.
Okay, I'm not doing that.
Harvard has special officers, they hire special officers called parent officers. And their role is to keep parents out of the university. Because they can't, it's horrible. Because students cannot become independent anymore. They can grow resilience because all the stones are gone, so they got to redo it. And then after that, of course, when the parents can't do it anymore, it stops. But she had one story, there was friends, she had a daughter, she's a grandmother now with little children, and her daughter had friends coming over. And they landed on the airport, and they rented a car. And they would stay over in a hotel. The first thing that the daughter of like 1 year old was just learning to walk. She was still very unstable, and she would fall out all the time. The first thing they did, they drove to the Home Depot, where you can buy building materials or things like that. They bought a big roll of bubble wrap plastic, with the little things you can. They went to the hotel room. They put the bubble wrap up to all the furniture in the hotel room to 1 meter high, so if her daughter would fall, she wouldn't hurt herself.